Hi, good day. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. How have y'all been doing? Sorry. Let's take a look here. I wasn't ready. Oh, let's try it again. Current blood sugar, we're sitting at a 6.9. Not as calibrated. It is 235. I have 6.825 units of insulin. I had my normal snack, and I also had a piece of birthday cake because it was my birthday month. So I had a piece of birthday cake. My line started off relatively lower, and for most of the morning till about 10:15 or so, I was on the lower side. Then I shot up to about 9.7 and then came down, and right now we're sitting at 6.7. So, even with the birthday cake, my blood sugar is doing well. Okay, current time and range status is 90%. That means 10% was above, 90% in range. This is win. Remember, we got to celebrate our wins. That's below 3.9. I had 0. Big egg. And average sugar is 7.0. You get this down, your average sugar comes down. Imagine that. By basic math again. Today, I want to discuss with you EMS and 911. And as a type 1 diabetic, what's going to happen when you have to call them? Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay, my comment request for you to write down below is, when have you gone to emergency and how was your emergency visit? Maybe write if you've had to use an alternate facility, if you've gone to an urgent care or waited to your doctor. It'd be just interesting just to see what cases and how people responded. So write it down and we'll discuss in a later video. Okay, talk to you in a bit. Bye now. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay, I'm going to discuss this pretty much as it falls into the emergency medical system that happens here in Canada, or in BC. BC is one of the 10 provinces and 3 territories of the country of Canada. So BC has an ambulance service run by the government. Great, now we got that out of the way. In British Columbia, it all centers on dialing 911. And 911 if you're in medical need to call. If you're able to move and get to an urgent care facility, that is still better. Even getting up and getting to a hospital is still better. Now, the one thing that really annoys me a lot of times, And I've seen it so often when I've had to go, even for IV therapy at a hospital, or just to see a doctor for whatever reason. People that come in and say, I have a sore throat. I need to see a doctor right away. That's not what emergency's for. Emergency is for life-threatening injuries or life-threatening illness. A lot of times, space is taken up by those who really shouldn't be there. The last time I went to an emergency was from here, and I was taken to emergency because my blood sugar was running high that whole day. Definitely wasn't 90% time in range, as it is today. But you call 911, and no matter what's going on around you, try to keep your composure. The best 911 story I ever had was I was having a low. And I kind of remember it because I was lying in the foyer of my apartment. And I pressed 0 on the phone. I don't even know why I didn't press 911. I pressed 0, and the lady came on. I can remember the lady speaking to me. And she said, "Operator." And I went, and I'll give her credit, whoever this lady was, she clicked in right away, and she said, "Do you need medical help? Press 0 or press 1, and I did. And she said, "Hold on." And they called the 911. 911 showed up, got my sugars up, and we went off to the hospital. If you're unable to help yourself with low blood sugar or a high blood sugar, you can call 911, no problem. If you're able to get to a hospital on your own or to an urgent care facility, do that. Keep the 911 system, medical EMS system, available for those who truly need it. It sounds simple. Usually, when you go to emergency, if you're not a life-threatening right this minute, chances are you'll have to go in and be seen by an admission clerk, and then a triage nurse, and then someone who'll fill out your paperwork, and then you'll be called in. You might have to wait a while. Where urgent care centers now offer you less time, and the hope is that it drags away non-life endangerment, illness, or injuries from an emergency room and lessening up the drain on the hospitals. That's wonderful. Most hospitals, if you think you have a broken foot or leg or whatever, will still treat. If you show up and you don't need the help of the hospital, you will still be seen. That's part of the emergency sentence or policy. So it's amazing. Like I said, people who are there who really shouldn't be there. Now, going to emergency, as I mentioned before, also for us as a diabetic, can mean you have a high or a low blood sugar you cannot treat yourself. If you are vomiting and you have a high blood sugar, that's considered to be emergency. I've always kind of said in this last point, if you're kind of iffing and wondering if you should, go to emergency. If you run out of insulin, don't go to emergency. Go to a drugstore. In BC, with your care card, you can see what your last few times at the hospital was, what you actually need and are prescribed. So it's not that you don't need to be in an emergency. If you're unable, you're unable to keep anything down, if you haven't been eating or drinking for a few days, your sugars are probably down or they could be up, but you need help. If you need help with your diabetes, call a doctor, call a health line. Don't call poison control. When I had a low blood sugar here, they asked, well, should I call or have the person call poison control? Which the ambulance was here and their dispatcher was the one who told me this. They don't have anything to do with problem blood sugars up. They don't have the means to diagnose insulin doses or whatever. So don't tie up. Try to contact your doctor. If you find that you're second guessing yourself and you can wait to see your diabetes clinic. If you can and you're really feeling sick, then by all means, go to emergency. Now, hospitals are at the brink of closing down emergency departments all the time. Make sure that you know where you're able to go. May not be the hospital that you like, but in the lower mainland of BC, we have a hospital ER wait times, and you can also see if they've closed down an ER. In fact, the day I went to the ER here, they had just recently opened up again because of closure, because they were just overwhelmed. And I mean, just over the river, there's Abbotsford, just down the highway a bit. There's Maple Ridge. That way there's Chilliwack. So there's other options around. So things you need to remember. If you're sick and you have no one to care for you, if you've had a severe low, and for me, I was lying on the floor a lot, having a severe low. I pressed my I've fallen and I can't get up button, which brought the ambulance to me, which was taken to the hospital. Just because, oh, I'm low, I'm 3.8, does not mean to call the paramedics. Life-threatening injuries. If you're diabetic with a heart condition and you feel you're having a heart attack, okay. If your son or daughter has been showing symptoms of diabetes and they've seen they're getting worse, or yourself, contact EMS and 911. Start the ball rolling. Besides 911, in British Columbia, there's another number, and that number is 811. And that will call an ambulance if you need to, but more than likely they'll give you directions if you should go to a UPC, an urgent care facility, or UCC, or but follow advice. We want to make sure that there's enough room for those patients that need it. Just try to think about it. If you're humming or hawing, oh, I don't know if I'm sick enough, go, because I've done that and I've sat there and gone, oh, should I go? Shouldn't I go? I don't think I'm sick, and oh, maybe I am. Call if you need to. If somebody can take you to emergency room, fine. Chances are they're going to put you in priority, which means the sicker people are seen first. Just be aware of that. Larger hospital does not necessarily mean you're going to get the better care. Remember that too. 911 is for life-threatening illness or emergencies. Care facilities are for where it's urgent but it's not life-threatening. Doctor's office can see you or make arrangements for you to be seen, or if you're humming or hawing, you can call your doctor, or the doctor on call could give you advice on where to go. Just remember that. Emergency rooms are for emergencies, pure and simple. If it's urgent but you don't need to be seen as an emergency case, urgent care or your own doctor. And with that, have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.